Guys, I am completely convinced that if you do this, this will completely change your life, your walk with God, your circumstances. And I'm a testimony of this. It's very powerful. It's even powerful if you're not a Christian, to be completely honest, because God makes certain rules in life, certain laws in life. And if you follow them, they will work out for you, whether you believe or not. Just because you don't believe in gravity doesn't mean gravity doesn't exist, okay? What I will tell you is if you're in a wilderness moment, if you're struggling in life circumstances are bad, financially you're struggling, you lost a job, your relationships aren't working out, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, there's so many different things, right? The temptation, what the devil wants from you is to keep you in a grumbling place, in a place of criticism, negativity, thinking about things, thinking about the people who hurt you and dwelling on, just resentment and hatred and bitterness and grumbling towards God. Oh, God, how can you do this to me? I'm a good person, blah, 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 blah. Listen, let me tell you about the Israelites and why they were in the desert for 40 years, okay? It says that in Numbers 32:13, that the Lord's anger burned against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years until the whole generation of those who had done evil in his sight was gone. Okay, then I ask, why did God keep them in the desert for 40 years? Okay, did they have to stay in the desert for 40 years? The answer is no. All right, the reason why the Lord was angry was because the generation that left Egypt, that God took out from Egypt, sent the plagues, did all that, sent Moses, the Israelites repeatedly refused to trust and obey God. And they outright rejected his promise, okay? They, if you guys remember the 10 spies, and they went out there and they saw these giants and they were scared. They were fearful of those reports, okay? So fear, grumbling against the Lord, against Moses, right? It would have been better for us to stay in Egypt, stay in slavery after God did all of that to save them, okay? Accusing God of evil motives, proposing to appoint a new leader to take them back to Egypt, okay? Wanting to stone Joshua and Caleb. Okay, this was the reason, because they were in a place of grumbling. Now let that sink in for a moment, okay? Because you're kind of getting to the point. My grandmother passed away today. She was an extraordinary person. I know everybody says that about someone who passed, about a loved one that they passed, but she was truly an extraordinary person. And it's not like she made a bunch of money. It's not like she was this and she was that. But what made her extraordinary was that she was such a grateful person. She laughed all the time, guys. She was so self-sacrificial. Literally, she sacrificed her whole life until she died, until she literally couldn't lift her hands and make food for us. But what made her so great was that she was always so grateful. She always looked at the positive things about people rather than just constantly criticizing, which is so easy and so tempting for us to do. Let me kind of get to the point here because I don't want this video to be long. The point is that you could be keeping yourself in this place of wilderness because you are grumbling and because of your attitudes towards God. And I know that's very hard, okay? I know that's very hard because the temptation, again, it's hard because the devil wants to keep you in that place of anguish, of anger, and resentment towards God, okay? But I'm telling you, if you want to change your seasons, okay, your season, change your attitude. Be grateful to God. Let me give you an example. If you have a child, I don't know if you guys are parents or not, but if you are a parent and you have two kids, Bob and Jerry, okay? So Bob Bob is constantly grumbling. He has toys, but he's like, oh, I don't like this toy. I don't like this about this toy, that about this toy. I want more toys. I'm kind of tired of these toys. Or I need more toys, blah, 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 blah. You have Bob constantly acting like this, okay? Then you have Jerry. He has the same amount of toys, but he is so grateful for his toys. Every day he comes to you and says, Dad or Mom, thank you. Thank you for these toys. I really like this color. I really like this pink dress. I really like this, sorry, not pink dress, blue dress, whatever. Probably not a dress at all. But the point is that he is constantly grateful to you. Now, if you were a parent, every day they're all saying something. One is grumbling and one is grateful. Who would you give more toys to? Who do you want to give more toys to? Okay. The Bible says in so many verses, in so many parts of the Bible, okay, it says to be grateful, to be in thanksgiving. Give thanks always, not sometimes, not every other day, every single day. And I'm telling you, in my own life, every day, I start my prayers with gratitude, with being grateful. At least 5 things of what I'm grateful for in my life. And guys, if you think that you can't come up with 5 things to be grateful for, that's how much that you have sunken into this pit of resentment, of honestly the flesh thinking. Because even if you're in America, or if you're not in America, even if you're alive and if you have food, listen, there's, I don't even know, hundreds of thousands, millions or whatever. I don't know what the number is, but there's so many sperm, okay? You made it out of that many sperm. You gave life, okay? Or you got life. And that in itself is such a grateful thing to be for, okay? And I'm telling you, in my life, as I led my life with gratitude, constantly being grateful. When I didn't have anything, I was grateful. And I'm telling you how much my life has changed since my life of gratitude. I can't tell you how much my circumstances have changed. Seriously, it's ridiculous. But here is the key, because when I look at Solomon, I'll end with this. Solomon, even though God blessed him, I mean, he was the wisest person on earth, right? His kingdom was vast, all right? He was just dominating during his time. Now, what made him so wise and so successful is even though God gave him a bunch of things, even though I give Jerry more things, Jerry doesn't turn away like so many other kids do. They'll just turn away and just focus on the present. But what Solomon did was he came back to God and he made monuments. He sacrificed a bunch of animals to God as for gratitude. He remained in gratitude. Hence, God continued to bless him. And I can tell you in my life, even when I started, my whole circumstances changed where I didn't become broke. Instead, I had millions of dollars and I'm like, whoa, this is a lot different. But I remained in gratitude. Even to today, I remain in gratitude for the things I have. And that is what's going to keep you in a different season, into a more blessed season, okay? And so to kind of end is, I'll end with this. My grandmother was a beautiful person. I mean, if you look at her, her skin is pure white, okay? I mean, she has really great skin. Not as many wrinkles as you may think for a 94, 95-year-old, okay? But what made her skin so good, what made her such a beautiful person is because she laughed all the time and she was so grateful and she always looked at the positive things. Listen, Korean skincare can only do so much, but if you have a bad attitude, if you look at some people just with a bad attitude, they just have a bad attitude and they're constantly criticizing, they're constantly gossiping about other people, and they're a negative person. You could put on so much makeup to mask your ugliness, but it manifests in your face. My grandmother was a very beautiful person at 94, 95 years old, okay? So I'll end with this. Change your season by being grateful. Change your attitude. Get out of the wilderness season. I hope you guys have a good day.